Yes, Amulya?
Ma'am, it's not visible, ma'am.
Now,
Now
is it
it's
visible?
visible, ma'am.
Is it visible MCDC testing? Is it visible?
Now it's visible,
Okay,
ma'am.
okay, fine.
Testing a cost-effective white box
Yeah,
testing.
yeah, yeah. Are you able to view that?
Yes, ma'am.
Fine, fine. Okay, fine. See, the thing is that I got certain important things related to MCDC coverage. Okay, and I'm just presenting the same with you people to make it better understandable by you. Okay, whatever they have given in the textbook, that is Michael Young and Pelze book. Okay, it's little bit complicated. It takes time to understand what exactly they have explained. So I just got a material and I'm sharing with you people, and it's been uploaded in the Google Classroom also. Okay, let us start with white box testing in that MCDC coverage. Okay, what do you mean by exactly testing is? You are just checking the expected behavior with the observed behavior under certain conditions. Okay, and you are noting down the faults if it is not acting accordingly as per the expectation. Okay, once you check it out whether it is been behaving properly or not, okay, as per your expectation, and once you arrive at the faults, you are going to debug and correct the software based on the observations made. That is all about the software testing. Okay, and as related to other phases of software development, the software testing phase is one of the phases wherein it consumes maximum effort as compared to other phases of the software development, about 50% of development effort. Okay, after that, okay, these are the testing activities we have already gone through. That is designing of the test cases and running the test cases. And once I run the test case against any program, you are going to note down the results and as to detect the failures associated with your software. Okay, once you detect it, what do? You just debug it in order to overcome those errors. Okay, after that, you have certain terminologies, that is error, faults, and failures, which we have already gone through. Okay, I need not explain this again. Okay, more focus should be on structural testing right now. Okay, test suite, as I've already told you, don't mix up the terminologies. Test case and test suite. Test suite will have test cases, collection of test cases or set of all the test cases. I call it as test suite. Okay, and a test case will have three things. One is input, and second one is the state of the system, in which I'll be passing the data as input and O as the expected output. Okay, these three things should be included within your test case. Okay, after that, these are the testing techniques. Black box testing, which I call it as functional testing, white box or glass box testing, and gray box testing. Now we are studying white box testing. Okay, uh, we are studying the structure of the code in order to detect the faults associated with the structure of the code, and this is also called as the glass box testing, one and the same: white box testing, glass box testing, and structural testing, wherein the focus is more on the internal structure of the software rather than the functionalities that you have implemented. Okay, and what is the final outcome that you are going to get once you implement this technique? That is, you are designing the test cases. Okay, after that, these are the techniques we have gone through already: statement coverage, branch coverage, path coverage, condition coverage, MCDC coverage. What do you mean by MCDC? Modified condition and decision coverage, mutation testing, data flow based testing. Among these techniques, mutation testing is not there. Rest of the things we have gone through. Today we'll be studying MCDC coverage. Okay. After that, These things we have already gone through. Statement coverage. What do? We are going to study all the statements execution. The statements which are present in the code must execute at least once. Okay. In order to test that, we are going to write the frame the test cases to check it out whether the statements which are present in the code are exactly at least once they are being executed or not. Okay. And what is the formula for finding out the statement coverage? That is the number of executed statement for a particular input divided by total number of statements present in the source code into 100, because the coverage should be expressed in terms of percentage. I've already told you. Okay, this is what we have already studied. And whenever you come across the term adequacy criteria, you are going to define, okay, what is the basic thing that should be done whenever you go for certain coverage. Suppose here the statement coverage. What is the adequacy criteria which is associated with the statement testing? That is, we are looking out for the execution of each statement at least once. Okay, and the coverage measurement we have already seen, that is number of executed statements divided by total number of statements in the source code into 100. Okay, it has to be expressed in terms of percentage. Okay, they have taken up one simple example, and we have to consider a scenario wherein you are going to provide the input values for the variables which you are treating as the input variables, and based on the values that you are passing, you are going to test, or you are going to arrive at certain quantity or measure for statement coverage. Okay, we have already checked this out. Statement coverage. What is the major advantage in having statement coverage? Okay, it is directly applied to the object code and it does not require any processing of the source code. Okay, and the disadvantage associated with the statement coverage is it is insensitive to control structures. That is, if you have if and else statements or any looping structures, if you have, or any branch related structures, conditional statements, okay, that you cannot have more control on such things if you go for statement coverage technique. In order to overcome that, they do arrive at the branch coverage. In other words, it is also called as decision coverage. Actually, they are different. Branch coverage is different from decision coverage, and decision coverage is different from condition coverage. We have already gone through it. Okay. What do you mean by branch coverage? Okay. Whenever you have certain conditional statements within the code, you will apply the branch coverage. Okay, and you are going to test for the outcome associated with each branch. Okay, that is, you are going to test for the outcomes, and we have already seen the measurement formula for branch coverage, that is outcome, whatever outcome you are getting, that exercised outcomes divided by total number of outcomes. Okay, that is executed branches divided by total number of branches. That is the coverage formula for branch testing. Okay, and what is the adequacy criteria associated with the branch testing is that each branch of a conditional statement which is present in the CFG, that is control flow graph, must be executed at least once. At least one time you have to have the execution of a particular branch associated with the conditional statement. Okay, after that I have something called condition coverage. See, you have to take care whenever we are dealing with coverages associated with the conditions or the control structures, all are different. Branch coverage is different, decision coverage is different, condition coverage is different. Decision coverage deals with the outcomes, branch coverage deals with the execution of the branches, condition coverage, it will have uh, the control towards the true or false, both the outcomes of Boolean expression. Okay, and this is similar to decision coverage, but it has got more sensitivity to the flow of control within the source code. Okay, as compared to the decision coverage, if you are given a choice, then you have to prefer the condition coverage because it has got more sensitivity because it will check both the outcomes, true and false. Whereas decision coverage will check only for a pertaining to a particular input. If it is true, only that is considered and you are leaving the testing part of it. Okay, but condition coverage, you are testing for true outcome of a particular Boolean expression as well as false outcome of a Boolean expression. Okay, and in other words, I can call condition coverage. Okay, that is the extension of condition coverage. I call it as a condition bar decision coverage. It is a hybrid measure. It is a mixture of both the things, condition coverage as well as decision coverage. Okay, what is the advantage over here? Okay, it is simple because you are going to apply both the things together. It is a hybrid approach and you are going to have more coverage. Okay, and this is the example for condition coverage. Okay, and we have already gone through the condition coverage. I need not explain this again. Okay, today's focus is on the MCDC coverage. In order to provide the background for particular MCDC coverage, I am explaining you all these stuff. Okay, so condition bar decision coverage, what exactly it does? It will combine the requirements for a particular decision coverage with the condition coverage. Okay, so let me just move on to the MCDC coverage. Okay, MCDC coverage. Okay. That is there for your syllabus. MCDC coverage is there for your syllabus. MCDC stands for Modified Condition Bar Decision Coverage. What is the main objective over here? Okay. Main objective is to test the prominent combinations of conditions associated with the source code without increasing the size of test cases. Okay. Main objective for which I go for MCDC coverage is that I have to arrive at prominent conditions or important combinations of conditions which impact the decision. Okay. And I'm not increasing the size of the test bit exponentially if I'm considering the important combinations of the conditions. What do you mean by important combinations over here? Okay. Important combinations refer to basic conditions that will affect the outcome of decision independently. Okay. You have a condition, okay, that condition will vary the result independently irrespective of presence of other conditions. Such condition I term it as important condition or basic condition. Okay, and I have already explained about this. What is the prerequisite for this particular MCDC coverage? For each basic condition C, suppose C is the basic condition, it is going to have two test cases maximum. At least it should have two test cases. And all the evaluated conditions except the basic condition that I have considered are the same. Okay, and the compound condition as a whole, it should evaluate to either true or false for the test cases that I have considered. These are the prerequisite or the requirements for modified condition and decision coverage. Okay, and it is also referred as predicate coverage technique because predicate, you know, it is condition based technique. That's why it is also called as predicate coverage technique. Okay, wherein you are going to consider the logical operators. Okay, but not shorthand operators here. You are purely going to consider the logical operators. Okay, and you have two terms over here, condition and decision. Okay, condition will be considering the leaf level Boolean expression, whereas a decision is associated with flow of control within the program. Okay, what is the main idea in this MCDC coverage? Okay, whatever condition I'm considering or I'm showing, it has to independently impact the decision or outcome of a decision. Okay, that is, in other words, the outcome of a decision will vary if I change the single condition which is under study. Okay, that is the main idea associated with this MCDC coverage. Okay, how do I measure this MCDC coverage? It is a combination of condition coverage, decision coverage, and the condition which is independently impacting the outcome of a decision. These three things should be taken into account whenever I measure the coverage, the MCDC coverage, that is modified condition decision coverage. So the name itself tells you, okay, you need not by heart, okay, you have to just understand. See, what all are the things I need to consider whenever I go for finding out the metric or measuring MCDC coverage. That is, I have to measure the condition coverage, decision coverage, and the condition. I have to look for the condition which is independently impacting the outcome of a decision. Okay, these are the MCDC requirements as per certain standard. Okay, we have something called Radio Technical Commission for Aeronautics. Okay, they have come up with certain prerequisites for carrying out MCDC technique. Okay, what are those prerequisites? As per Radio Technical Commission for Aeronautics, what they have come up with is that every statement of the program should be invoked at least once, and the entry and exit point of a program should be invoked at least once. See, program can have multiple entry and exit points. Okay, if you consider all the parts in the program or all the entry and exit points in the program, those points should be invoked or called at least once whenever you execute a code. These two things are defined by RTCA standard. Okay, RTCA stands for Radio Technical Commission for Aeronautics. Okay, and they have also come up with these prerequisites, that is control statements. Whenever you have a conditional statements in the program, it should take all the possible outcomes at least once. That is, either it should be evaluated to true or false for a particular input that you are going to pass. And if there is any non-constant Boolean expression in the program, then it should be evaluated to both true and false result. Okay, and the condition, okay, whenever you go for MCDC coverage, please remember that main focus is on showing that the condition which is under study is independently impacting or affecting the expression's outcome or decision. That is the main objective associated with the MCDC coverage. Okay, they have taken simple scenario in order to explain about the necessity of having MCDC coverage as compared to other techniques which are lying under the category white box testing. Okay, see here there are two people who are discussing. One person is asking, what is MCDC coverage testing? So other one is answering. See, look at this. This is the analogy that you have to understand associated with MCDC coverage. Okay, you have a light. Okay, everybody knows it is a simple example. You have a light which is controlled by three switches. Okay, and how can I associate MCDC testing with this example? Okay, so what you are exactly doing in MCDC testing is that we have to show that each light switch is independently acting on turning the light on or off. It's not about the combined effect of these three switches in switching on or off the particular light. It is not that. You are going to express that each of the switch that which you have considered, it is independently. The word independent is very important here. Independently, it is turning on or off the light. There are three switches. You have to show that if you go for MCDC testing, you have to show that this first particular switch is independently impacting the working of this particular light without getting associated with these two switches. That's how you are testing it if you go for MCDC technique. Okay, how can I apply this analogy in software testing? If you look out over here, okay, you have something over here. The light is over here. Three switches are there. First, you will consider the first switch, okay, and you will just try to on and off. Okay, and you just check it out whether light is working fine or not. Okay, without considering other two switches. Okay, and after that I will consider the second switch, and I will try to see the functionality of the bulb whether it is working fine or not without touching first and third switch. Similarly, I'm going to consider the last switch without touching the first and second switch. Without testing the first and second, I'm going to test the third switch whether it is helping me in switching on the light or not. Okay, same thing you can associate with software testing, wherein I have three conditions which is impacting the decision. Okay, and each decision is independently acting on the outcome of a particular decision or the decision that you are going to arrive at. This is how you can apply MCDC coverage. Okay, according to the multiple condition coverage, if I have more than one condition within the source code, then every condition in the decision should take all the possible outcomes at least once. See, look at this example. You have a if statement over here, okay, and you have three variables, Boolean variables over here, that is A, B, C, okay, and the Boolean operators that I am considering is and or, okay. Each of the variable, okay, or A, B, C can be condition also here, sub conditions, okay. They should assume all the possible outcomes, that is true or false. They should assume all the possible outcomes, that is true and false. Whenever you are dealing with Boolean expressions or Boolean conditions, only two possible outcomes. Either it has to be true or false, on or off, 1 or 0. Okay, that's how these three things are assuming the values. ABC are not mere just Boolean variables. They can also be the compound conditions or simple conditions. Okay, after that, how do I test this? Okay, I have to keep one thing constant, one thing should be unchanged, and let me test these two things, or let me just check this B, how it is impacting the decision of this particular condition. That is how I have to perform MCDC coverage or MCDC technique. Okay, that is you are checking out for the independent, okay, how the particular condition in the decision is independently affecting the outcome. Okay, and whenever you are testing, you have to keep one thing constant and you change the value of another to test its impact on the decision. Then only you will get to know. MCDC coverage involves these things. Okay, and what it achieves, okay, it will enhance the condition decision coverage by requiring that each condition is going to independently impact the outcome of the decision. And one thing you have to remember here with respect to MCDC coverage, if you have n inputs, then minimum of n plus 1 test cases should be designed in order to carry out MCDC coverage. Okay, see, suppose if I am testing the condition A or B, then which all are the test cases which will impact the decision is that whenever it is true false, false true, and false false, because whenever it is true, okay, that is how you have to test the particular conditional statements. Okay, let us take up certain examples over here, okay, to test if A or B. Okay, which all are the things that are required, okay, in order to say that A is independently impacting the outcome. Okay, how do I do that? If it is true, okay, if A value is true and B value is false, then the outcome, what is the outcome? It is going to be true only, right? True or false? What is it? It is true because I am dealing with or. Okay, if it is false and if it is true, then also the outcome is going to be true only. But whenever the value is false and false, it is going to be false. Why I am not considering true and true? Because that is not required at all, because whenever both the values are evaluated to true, then the final outcome is going to be true. I need not test that. Okay, so minimum three things or three possibilities are possible whenever you go for this MCDC coverage, whenever you have operators such as OR and XOR. Okay, this is simple example they have considered. Okay, how you can prove that the values, okay, that is how it will be associated with the linear complexity. Okay, that is, I just few minutes back I mentioned that whenever there are n basic conditions, then I have to design n plus 1 test cases. Why is it so? Okay, how can I achieve or how can I say that it is linearly increasing the number of test cases? Okay, let me just show you this MCDC linear complexity. Okay, see here, the condition that the compound condition which is under study. Okay, here if you see, okay, A, B, C, D, E. Okay, totally there are 5 terms involved in this particular condition, and they have considered certain test cases over here. Okay, and here they are not considering all the possible values that you are going to have for A, B, C, D, E. Instead, they are just picking up certain important combinations, and they are just proving that they are going to impact the outcome rather than considering all the possible combinations. Okay, only you consider whenever you are going for MCDC, consider only the important combinations of the condition that will independently impact the outcome. Here, let me explain the first test case wherein the value for A is considered to be a true and B is unknown, don't care, and C is going to be true and D is don't care and E is true. What is the outcome that I'm going to get? It is true irrespective of the values that is assumed by B and D. If you give the value for B and D, it will, those two things for this particular combination will never impact the outcome. That's why they have kept it as don't care values for B and D. But the values that are going to impact the outcome is A value, C value, and E value. Similarly, if I consider one more test case, that is second one. If the value for A is false and value for B is true and C is true and D is don't care and E is true, that time outcome is going to be true. Here which is ignored? The value of D is not having any impact or it is not acting independently on the outcome of the particular condition which is under study. Similarly, they have come up with these six test cases which are most prominent in impacting the decision that associated with a particular condition. Okay, whichever things they have underlined, if you can see over here, okay, the things which are being underlined, those values are independently affecting the output of the decision. Okay, see if I change the value of A and C and E over here, then it is going to impact or change the outcome associated with the condition. Whereas in the second test case, the underlined, whichever is been underlined, that value if you change, it will have impact on the final outcome, irrespective of these values. I hope everybody is understanding this. Okay. Any doubts? If any doubts are there, please put in the chat box. I shall take it up at the end. Okay. After that, if you consider the third one, okay, the value of D, which is being underlined, it will have impact on the final outcome rather than going for these values A, C, and E. Okay. The most prominent value that is impacting the outcome is the value of D. Okay. Similarly, I have other test cases, that is sixth test case. It is as per their design. Okay, you should not be shocked why it is not 4, 5, 6. Okay, they have come up with many test cases. In that, they have considered only the prominent combination of test cases which is impacting the outcome of a decision. Okay, so what is the main theme behind MCTC is, instead of exponentially increasing the size of the test cases, you are finding out the important combinations and you are carrying out the testing. Okay, this is about the linear complexity associated with MCTC coverage. Okay, then after that, let me take up one simple example over here. Okay, suppose the conditional statement is if A and B. Then what is the first thing that you are supposed to do? First, you have to write the truth table for the conditions. Okay, and everybody knows about truth table. That is possible values assumed by A and B. That is, it can be true, 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 false, false, true, false, false. And accordingly, what is the result that you are going to get? Whenever both are true, then only true. Otherwise, rest of the things will remain as false, because it is, I'm dealing with AND operator, logical AND operator. After that, once you have written the truth table, you try to extend the truth table. Okay, you try to extend the truth table like this, the way they have done it. This number, what is this? This is the combination number, and these are the variables that I'm considering, and these are the possible combination, and this is the result. Okay, and here they are considered A and B. Okay, what is this 3 and 2? Why they have written 3 and 2? Let us check that part in the next slide over here. Okay, why? How do I prove the independence of A? That is, how A is independently impacting the condition A and B. Whenever I consider 1, along with this, the third combination. Okay, along with that, the third combination. That is, 1 is true and true. Okay, and if I consider third one, that is false and true, then only I can show it is independently impacting the final outcome of the condition. That is, I'm changing the value of A over here. If you clearly observe here, in the test case number 1, the value for A is true, the value for B is true. But if you go for third combination, only the value associated with the A is getting changed rather than B. That's why, in order to show the independency of A, how A is independently impacting the outcome, I have to consider two combinations, that is 1 and 3. Similarly, if I want to prove the independent impact of B on the decision outcome, I have to consider the first test case wherein the value assumed by B is true, and second one, the value assumed by B is false. That is, first number and second number should be taken into account. So finally, I can say the test cases which are independently impacting the final decision are test case number 1, wherein the value of both the variables are true and true, and test case number 2, that is true and false, and test case number 3, false and true. I'm not considering the fourth test case. What might be the reason over here? Because whenever the values of A and B are false, the outcome is going to remain as false only. You need not check it. Okay, that's why I'm not interested in fourth test case that I have written. Here the important combinations that I have to consider whenever I am carrying out MCDC coverage is only three things: first, second and third. And accordingly, they have written the combination over here. Okay, I hope everybody is understanding this. Okay, so after that, you have one more example. Okay, you have one more example. they have taken over here. Okay, that is little bit complicated compared to the previous one. You had only two variables over there, but now you are having three variables. How can I check out? Okay, I request everybody to take this down and come with the solution in the tomorrow's class. Okay, that is if A and parenthesis B or C. You have to solve this and you have to come up with the minimal set which is going to impact the final decision. This is the assignment for MCDC coverage. Okay, please take this as an assignment. If A and B, A and parenthesis B or C, it's a compound condition wherein it is having the sub expression within it. Okay, so please try to solve this. Okay, first you write the truth table, extend the truth table and try to come up with the important combinations. Okay, that is the assignment.